Hi my friends, what is integrated anatomy in an applied sense? In this video I'd like to show you an exercise on integrated practice, integrated yoga anatomy, where we're using the principles of one part of the body being properly engaged to affect the rest of the body without taking much extra effort. So it simplifies your practice that you can have a focus but whole body results. For this exercise, for this practice, we're going to do 3 exercises. So it's a 3-part exercise. Part 1 will be a baseline reading. Part 2 will be one movement that we're comparing to the baseline, and part 3 will be a different movement to again comparable to the previous 2 to see how much an integrated practice or movement that integrates the body is useful for you. So this is about your breath, the effects of the breath, the ease of the breath, the direction of the breath, the way the breath moves into your body, the resistance that we feel, as well as the effort that takes for us. So here's the baseline reading. That's what we're going to do. We simply stand in a relaxed way. So if you're sitting down, lying down, watching this, please stand up. It's easier to get a more accurate reading for you to really notice what the effects are, how beneficial this can be when you stand up. Find a comfortable standing position, maybe your feet under your hips, so you're stable and don't have to worry about balance at this point. What I'd like you to do then is take a full breath, whatever a full breath for you is, breathing in and breathing out. You can repeat this a couple of times, not rushing, simply noticing your full breath while you're doing this. Feel how your body moves the air in and moves the air back out. So you can take a look at, well, where does it go? Does it stay rather high in my rib cage? Can I move it further down? Is there anything I can notice in terms of like front to back? How much effort does this take? Do I feel any particular resistances? So once you're done, that's your baseline, just to become aware of, okay, that's what a normal full breath is for you right now. We'll add now 2 movements to this. It's actually the same movement we're using in 2 different styles, if you want to call it that. This is a movement we do regularly, or many of you might be doing regularly, to initiate, say, a sun salutation. So it's that first movement that is the raising of the arms to have the arms overhead, often combined with the instruction to inhale. So it's that inhale, arm up movement. We'll do this in 2 different ways to compare. Quite often, and that's the reason why I like to demonstrate this for you. Quite often the idea is, well, I'll just take my arms up and the arms go up like this. But really, like, the arms are up, and then we get reminded, keep the shoulders away from the ears. Nice instructions, but the arms relatively, because they're not weight bearing, they remain, let's say, more on the passive side. They're not really engaged, they're not really integrated. There is a movement that we predominantly can associate here with the shoulder. Arms are up, elbows are more or less straight, depending on how much you engage your arms and how much mobility you have accessible to you right now. Let's try this out. So when you're standing here, we'll return to your full breath, and we're coupling, we're connecting this full breath to the movement of the arms. You can also do it without the coupling to the breath, just to see the difference for yourself. So it will be like an inhalation, arms come up, and we'll leave the arms up here. When your arms are up in this position, make sure you're not completely pulling your shoulders towards your ears, so you allow them to have some rest, some space, right? While you're here, arms remain up. You'll take more of these full breaths in and full breaths out. Depending on where you find your shoulders here, depending on your body, you will notice there is maybe a difference to your baseline reading we did a moment ago. So when you breathe in fully, You see, okay, which direction does the breath go? Does it access different areas in your rib cage? Does it feel there is more or less effort required? Do you find different areas of freedom of breath? Do you find different areas of restriction in your breath? Once you figured that one out, breathing in, breathing out, how does it affect you? Also take note of that. Many people say like, oh, well, now I feel more like this, now I feel more like that. Good, and eventually once you're done, you take your arms back down. That was the second one. How did this differ for you from your baseline reading? Did the simple act of raising your arms change your breath? So with that, we already start to think, well, is arms up, inhale or not inhale at the same time, particularly leaving the arms up, is this more than just an action in the shoulder? You see, there is some integration, some connection already there. Most of you probably would have felt a difference there. Third part. The third action gives us a little bit more engagement. So before we move into that arms up again, that arms up position, we'll prep our arms and shoulders first through, let's say, a connecting engagement practice, a switching on of certain muscles. For that, we'll have our arms by our sides, palms facing roughly towards each other. Your palms will be somewhere by the sides of your hips, maybe the sides of your upper thighs, outer legs. Yeah? And here, without touching the hands, just allow now actively your arms, your shoulders, and particularly the palms of the hands to reach down the sides of the body. So you'll have an engagement of the arms moving down the sides, the palms moving down the sides. You might find your armpit travel somewhat down the side of your body. There might be more engagements of muscles here. Certainly your arm is more engaged, your palm is active, fingers can be closed or a little more open. That's up to you at this point, depending on which style of yoga you practice. That might be one preference over the other. So we're reaching down, the whole arm is active, the connection of the arms to the shoulders, to the body is active. We'll keep that activity, so we'll keep those muscles switched on, and then we'll take the arms up. So you can reach forward or you can reach up sideways, doesn't really matter as long as you maintain that engagement. Bring those arms up. You can combine it again with an inhale. Bring the arms up. And again, we'll leave the arms up. Make sure you have your arms in that downward engagement that mostly by itself will already maintain more space between your ears and your shoulders. Arms can be parallel, arms can be a little bit wider. Not a big deal. That depends on your body, but keep the arms engaged. That's what really matters here. They might be a little bit in front of you, but engage up all the way to your hands. So the body is active. Got that? Cool. Next, we'll focus back on the breath. We'll take a full breath in and a full breath out. So connect them in, out, at your full breath rhythm. Again, while you're doing this, check in with your body. Where does the breath travel? Where does it go? Can you feel it's moving into different areas? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe it's the same. What's the resistance? How much breath can you take? How easy is it? How much effort is there? Did the fullness of your breath, the feeling of taking a full breath, actually make a difference for you now in this position? Once you've collected all your information, like simply checking in with yourself, what's my body doing when I'm breathing here now? Then you get to bring your arms back down and just maybe relax your shoulders. Not everyone is very much used to having this engagement of the shoulders when we're usually just taking our arms up. What does this mean for you? Could you feel there was a change to your baseline reading? Yeah. I hope you noticed to some degree that there was a difference. And you can practice this again. You can practice this in a, for example, downward facing dog, where we have the same arms overhead position. The palms face in a slightly different way, but we have this engagement, hopefully, that connects your arms, shoulders to your torso. So how can we change the breath? How can we be more, say, free? Yeah? Now you have 3 different options. Which one works best for you? Maybe you're over-engaging and then you found the second one easier. This is all up to you, but it's noteworthy to see there are changes. Big one. Which changes do I make to my normal breathing pattern when I bring the arms up? And then taking that information to your practice. When recently teaching this on a course, one of the participants shared her experiences, and she was talking about how when she simply took her arms up, it felt quite oppressive. It drew her breath more in the upper part of her rib cage, of her lungs, where she felt this was kind of stressful. She started to feel anxious, and the arms were up, and it's like, for her it was like, wow, I forgot that's what happens, because she already had so much experience with her practice that she was always engaged. She always worked with a connected body, with an integrated body. And for her now to go back to, oh, it could be different, was like, I don't feel relaxed anymore. I feel it's stressing me. I feel my breath isn't full. I feel this is really a challenge in terms of like, ooh, now I have so many other areas I need to look after. So what are your experiences? Can you work better with a connected body? What follow-on effects does this have for you? Meaning, when you now take this idea of I can engage to free the breath, maybe move my breath into different areas of the body. And I want to remind you with this, 2/3 of your lung volume, your respiratory volume, are in the back of your body. So whatever you can do to free up space in the back of your body, whatever you can do to bring more of your breath to the back of the body, that is going to be helpful for an easier breath exchange. The breath, the oxygen from it is so necessary for you to fuel your cells. The full breath is necessary to make that a smooth and even process. You see, I'd like to learn more about it. How do we stabilize the shoulders? How do we breathe with greater ease? You can take a look at the Anatomy Show courses at AnatomyShow.com, and there you find courses on breath and breathing. There you explore your diaphragm, the different actions of it, the connections to it. You can also look at your shoulder stabilization. Without shoulder stabilization, the shoulders will continue to hang off your ears, and postures like downward dog or others where there's weight bearing on your wrists, say they're less comfortable, and that can be quite easy, and that's something we'll develop in those courses, and you get to try out and really change your practice. Once you know how to integrate your body well, and move with an integrated body, with a functional anatomy knowledge in mind, you'll never take the same breath as you're doing now. You'll never have the same practice again, because it's just transforming you to something that I think I can promise you is more enjoyable for you. If you like these videos, watch a few more, hit the subscribe button, and I'm looking forward to seeing you on a course.